Hey guys, what's up and welcome back to another episode. I'm Yasmyn.
And I'm Madison.
And this is MYLFS Podcast.
Also known as Madison, Yasmyn, and Little Friends.
As usual, we're going to start with our question of the week, but actually before we ask our question, I wanted to say, because we haven't said on here yet, if you guys have questions to submit, make sure you comment them down below for our questions of the week.
Mm-hmm.
Or if you're like watching on Spotify or listening on Spotify, you guys can go to our Instagram and submit them on our MYLFS Podcast Instagram, just like in the comments or DMs or like wherever.
So usually I post like a feedback, questions, thoughts after every episode is uploaded.
Yeah, like on stories.
Yeah, on stories. So just comment there as well. Or usually we do have a post that goes up after every episode.
Yes.
So you can comment on there as well.
Yes. Okay, so question this week.
So this question is from Kyla M31. And her question was relating to what our childhood looked like.
Yeah. So
I feel like we both have completely different childhoods.
Yeah, we definitely have like very different kind of opposite
like,
upbringings.
Opposites.
Yeah.
Very.
Yeah. So I guess you can start.
I've been born and raised in this one little town my whole life.
Mm-hmm.
And I've like never moved until I was like 18 years old to like right down the street. My parents are still together. I was a honeymoon baby actually.
Aww.
I think it's kind of gross.
Yeah, the face you made.
Yeah, it's like, I was made in Aruba, and I'm just kidding. But yeah, so my parents are together. I have 2 siblings. My childhood was just very, like, I don't want to say, like, that
typical?
like,
Not typical.
white picket house kind of typical family, but, like, that's kind of how it was for me.
Yeah.
And I feel very lucky to have that because I know a lot of people have, like, divorced parents or just one parent.
Yeah, more complicated situations.
Yeah, moving around all the time.
Not to say that that's, like, the only way that, like, a childhood can be good, but, like...
No, absolutely not. But that was my upbringing.
You had stability and
I did.
A good family. So.
Yes. Which I feel like it's very rare to see, like, 2 parents together still.
It
for
honestly
a very long
is.
time.
Yeah, I feel like it's pretty uncommon these days.
It really is. And it's kind of sad.
It is.
It's also good if you know you're not going to be with that person or you don't want to be with that person.
It's true.
At least you know that and get out of your
bad relationships. True.
So.
My childhood was very different. I honestly, like, am really lucky, though. Like, I feel like I had a lot of amazing experiences growing up, but it was definitely a little more chaotic and complicated. Never had my dad in my life. My grandma mostly raised me. My mom was sort of, like, in and out. But my grandma gave me, like, so many, like, basically set me up for success. Like, she had me in, like, really great schools. Like, I went to Montessori schools growing up. Like, had me in really great schools, activities, and I had a lot of good friends growing up. I also did move around a lot and had some complicated, traumatic years of my childhood. Like, that's, the best way to put it, like...
Yeah, that's why I was, like,
without getting into detail.
Like, think of mine. I was like, how do I explain it?
Like, I was born in Maryland. I moved to London with my mom when I was little. And then moved back to Maryland. I, like, went to so many different schools. I feel like I went to, like, 10 different schools growing up. I mean, as much as that was, like, hard, it made me, like, it made it easy for me to, like, learn how to, like, make friends and, like, be in uncomfortable situations.
So you adapt. I feel bad, like, just saying that I did have that.
Don't feel guilty.
Isn't that bad, though? Like, I literally sometimes feel guilty, like... hearing other people's experiences in life and like what their background is and I compare it to mine and I'm just like so thankful to have mine.
Yeah, but don't you want that for your kids?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But then I feel guilty that like I don't have those experiences and I can't like try to like relate to them. Yeah. You know? So it's just like you have to sit and listen and like understand. Like my mom is a teacher. My dad worked in construction.
You're just a basic bitch.
I literally am just so basic. Like, but I'm so thankful for like being basic.
Yeah.
But like,
I feel like people like judge people who like didn't have to go through struggles. Like even me, like I find myself being like, oh, like this, not like you, but I'll be like, oh, this person's like privileged, they don't get it. But then like that's what I want for my kids.
Yeah.
Like I don't want my kids to have to struggle.
No, and I don't want my kids to have to struggle. I want them to have like the life that I did grow up with. Not saying my life was completely perfect either.
Yeah.
But, like, just, like, general background, like, 2 parents together, siblings.
Dogs, the big backyard.
The dogs, the big backyard, the pool, like, in a neighborhood.
Grandma down the street.
Yeah. So it's just, like, close with my cousins, like, you know.
Yeah, but that's what I want for my kids, so.
Yeah, and I hope to give that to Sawyer as well. But, like, then I do have Sawyer, and my life doesn't look like that.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, like,
that's true.
I don't have the 2 parents for her.
Right.
You know, it's a lot different, like, in that dynamic.
That's kind of crazy because it's, like, kind of, like, reversed. Like, for me now, like, I have the house with the yard and the pool and me and Logan and, like, 3 little girls. And we will have that.
Eventually.
My relationship with my mom has always been kind of complicated. Growing up, like, as a kid, we were pretty close, and she's kind of always struggled with addiction and, like, substance abuse problems, which, like, I've gotten into, like, more deeply on my YouTube channel and stuff. Yeah, so my relationship with her has always been kind of, like, on and off. I do have 2 little sisters. One is 9.5 years younger than me, one's 11 years younger than me, so through her, like, problems, like, having, like, little siblings, I always kind of, like, helped raise them. I mean, we also lived with my grandma, who was also, like, sort of raising them, because my mom was just not always stable and consistent.
And their dads aren't involved either.
Yeah, none of our dads are around for, like, all different reasons, but we all have different dads. But actually this year, after I had Millie, like, right after I had Millie, my mom had another baby. She had a little boy. So my little brother was born addicted to drugs, yeah, like the drugs that my mom was using during her pregnancy. So that's, like, been a whole thing, like, the beginning of last year, like, it was almost a year ago because he's about to be 1. Like,
I remember driving you to
go get him,
to meet him,
to go to court too.
Yes,
because I borrowed your mom's clothes.
Yes.
Yeah. But yeah, so that was a whole thing last year, and we didn't know my mom was pregnant until the very end.
Like, literally, like a day before you had Millie?
Yeah, my mom told me, and then I went into labor.
I think that's why you went into labor.
That's what I always say, too. I was like, whoa, like, that was just too much for me. Yeah. When he was born, like, addicted to the substances that she was on, and then he ended up having to be in the NICU for a few weeks because, like, babies born with substance addictions from, like, their mom.
They go through withdrawal, just like a regular adult would.
Yeah, so they start to go through withdrawal, and it can be, like, really bad for them. So they have to, like, wean them off in the NICU. So he was in the NICU for a while, and then my mom obviously wasn't stable enough to be caring for a newborn. So when he got home, I, like, came the first day he got home to see him, and it was, like,
with your newborn.
Yeah, with my, at the time, 2-month-old baby. Because, they're, like, about 2 months apart. And I, like, knew what I was getting into. And I hadn't talked to my mom for months when I went to go, like, until I found out she was pregnant. I hadn't talked to her for months, but I knew exactly what was going to happen when I found out she was pregnant. I was like, okay, like, I'm going to have to get close with her again just so that I can
make sure your brother's okay.
Yeah, because I know that, like, I shouldn't have to feel, like, responsible for him, but, like, I can't help but, like, want to help because he's my brother at the end of the day.
Like, it's a sibling thing. Like,
it's like a sibling instinct.
I have 2 siblings. One's 16 and one is 10, 9. She's 10. And I would do anything and everything for them no matter what.
Yeah. It's, like, the older sister instinct. It is.
Like, you just want to protect them just like you're their mom.
Exactly, yeah. So I basically came that day and knew what I was about to walk into and that it was going to be a mess, and it was 10 times worse than I, like, thought it was going to be. But yeah, my mom was not able to care for him. My grandma was there. The only reason that she was even able to bring him home from the hospital is because my grandma had to agree that she would be supervising him. So, like, CPS was involved, social services, whatever, they were, like, involved, and my grandma had to agree that she was going to be, like,
so
at the house. So
basically that was, your grandma was, like, the sole
not even
custody yet?
Not even that she had custody, just that she was going to be, like, supervising him while I don't really know. That's the whole thing, like,
I don't understand.
With the whole court system and all these things, it's, like, so complicated.
Like, why, if you know that the mom was on drugs and not able to take care of her kid, why give the kid back to her?
Yeah, why
even with a supervised like person?
Exactly.
Still.
And if all she had to do was like sign a piece of paper, like they don't know anybody. Exactly, anyone could do that. Like for all they know, like my grandma could have just been doing the same thing that she was. Like obviously she's not, but like.
But you never know.
Right. So it's like they're just signing these like helpless newborn babies away to like literally setting them up for failure.
And it's like one little thing could go wrong and that baby could be in danger.
Yeah. And newborns are just so fragile. It's like, and especially like an already medically fragile newborn because he already was born with these issues. So yeah. Anyway, so they send him home and like we're watching my mom try to take care of him and barely be able to like stand up and change his diapers. And like she like, and me and my grandma are looking at each other like, what the heck? Like, and my grandma was like, please don't leave. Because she like knew my grandma's just too old at this point to be taken care of.
And she's already taken care of Venice and Ellie.
Yeah, exactly. So I was just like, oh my God. And I was like freaking out. It was like getting late. I was supposed to just go home because like, I don't know why I was sort of in denial of the fact it was like going to be so bad.
I think
so.
You always, no matter in any situation, but especially in this situation, like she's still your mom. Like you have the hope that like it's gonna work out, she's gonna get better, maybe this baby's gonna be different than the rest.
Exactly. That's honestly like my mindset for everything is like hope for the best but like prepare for the worst. So yeah, that's always kind of been my mindset with everything, which is good but also kind of makes me give too many chances sometimes. But that's just like the person that I am. Like I'll give chance after chance like until a certain point, I guess. But yeah, so I kind of was hoping, like that this would be the thing that
like
changed
this baby
everything.
would make her stop doing drugs and get her life together.
Yes, and it kind of made me, in my head, like my silly little delusional like fantasy world mind, I was like, oh my God, me and my mom are gonna have like babies almost the same age. Like what if like this is like gonna change everything? We're gonna be like mom friends and like our babies are gonna have play dates. Yeah.
It does sound like a picture perfect white picket fence like situation.
Yeah, so in my mind, I was like, maybe there's a chance that that's going to happen. And if not, then I'm going to have to be there to, like, pick up all the pieces when it falls apart. But
which, honestly, I always do feel, like, very heavily for you when it comes to that. Because you are the one that ends up picking up all the pieces in everybody's life. Yeah. And at some point, like, somebody's going to have to pick up the pieces for you. And I hope that the people that you've done that for them do it for you eventually.
Oh, thank you.
So, like, whenever it comes to your family and stuff, I'm just, like, kind of protective of you. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Like, I'm going to protect her.
That's
like,
how Logan is, too. Oh, that makes me happy.
Because you protect everyone else, and someone has to protect your heart.
Oh, thank you.
So I'm, like, always,
I'll
like...
cry.
Oh, I can cry. But that's just how I feel. Like, I just need to, like, keep you safe.
I love you.
I love you, too.
I'm not gonna cry. At that point, I guess I stayed that night to like take care of my little brother, and my mom had no problem just like, and this is his first night home from the hospital. Like imagine like new moms, like imagine that first night you bring your newborn baby home. That
especially
is like
from the NICU.
Yeah. Oh my God. Especially I couldn't even imagine. My kids like all came home after like a day, so I can't imagine. Like, and I have friends who had to have their kids in NICU for a while, and it's like that's supposed to be like really hard. That's like really hard for like moms and babies.
And going back and forth, like not bringing your baby home. So like the fact that she just like really didn't care.
Yeah.
Like it makes me mad.
Right. So then she brings him home, and this is like how she's acting, and like literally okay, like I was saying, imagine you bring your newborn baby home. Like that is, I remember bringing like vividly, like I remember bringing all of my babies home from the hospital and just being like, it was the most surreal. Yeah, it's literally like heaven. And like literally I was just like staring at them like for like months. Like
it's
weeks.
Like newborn bliss. Yes. Like you just kind of like are in your own bubble.
Yeah, seriously, like that's like the best time ever.
Really
like as even like through all of the hard parts of like the newborn days, like it is the best time ever.
It is. I love newborn stage, and it makes me want to have babies.
Like, I know
all the time.
Like I could relive that so many times, but like
then they get big. No, I'm just kidding. Then they get more busy.
Exactly. Yeah. Oh God, this is the stage of Millie right now. Is just like, can you just be a newborn again? Because you're really annoying me. Like,
that's how swears and like just sit for just 5 seconds. Yeah.
Anyway, so yeah, imagine that day and how amazing it is. And now imagine you like, okay, I guess you can't really imagine being in this state, but so my mom's completely unable to take care of this newborn baby. He's 2 weeks old at this point, and then she like gives him to me, and I'm like up in the guest bedroom at my grandma's house. I used to live there, and I'm like, just in the guest bedroom, and I have my 2-month-old baby who I'm breastfeeding, and then him, and she's like falling out, like, I'm not even gonna get into detail.
The videos.
Yeah, she's really like nodding off with her newborn baby in her arms, and I was like sitting there. I wouldn't let her out of my sight with the baby because I was like, this could end so badly. I was like freaking out. At some point, she wakes up from like nodding off and was like, oh, I'm just gonna go do some laundry like in the basement. And I was like, okay, yeah, like I got the baby. And then she doesn't come back for like 8 hours. And that was like the entire night. That was like in the evening, and I was supposed to go home. So I don't know who she thought was taking care of her baby or like what she thought was happening. But like if I hadn't been there, she either would have just expected my grandma to just like, who's like, wait, she's like 77?
Yeah, she's past
too old to be taking care of a newborn.
Past the point of taking care of babies.
Yeah, a newborn baby, a NICU newborn baby who's formula fed. And
she has the job and raising 2 kids who go to school.
Her 2 other kids. Exactly. So yeah, that baby would have been on his own because my mom didn't know that, like, I was supposed to have left. So then I stayed and took care of him that whole night because...
I vividly remember you coming home, I think it was the next day, and you calling me, and you just started crying.
Yeah.
Because I think it's just traumatic for you
to
see that in person.
It was so traumatic. Like, seeing her, seeing him, and then just, like, me staying up the whole night with, like, both babies, like, feeling like, oh my God, like, what am I supposed to do? Like, it was hard. I didn't sleep at all. And, like, maybe I got a couple minutes of sleep, like, here and there. But, like, I was, like, trying to breastfeed Millie, bottle feed him. And I was, like, holy crap, like, this isn't, like, it was actually, like, I think I was traumatized for the whole rest of the year after, like, that experience.
I could see why.
Yeah.
It's definitely, I feel like you had twins, but, like, more than that because, like, you have had 3 kids, so you know what to do. But it's the fact that it's, like, you were put into that situation where it's a lot more difficult to handle because he's a NICU baby and it's not your baby, it's your baby brother, so it's like
a lot more pressure.
Yeah.
Then eventually, like, the whole situation kind of just spiraled into, like, a lot of chaos, but, like, one of my relatives came out, like, right after that to help take care of him. I, like, drove back and forth, like, that whole weekend because obviously my kids were at home. I had to come back, so I knew, like, my grandma was with him and, like, monitoring him, but I was, like, driving back and forth, like, for a few days to make sure he was okay. But then eventually my relative came out, and then finally, like, the court got more involved and, like, CPS got more involved and had him placed, like, my grandma as, like, the main
sole custodial. We do not know.
Yeah, I don't know all the right words. And at the time I did, but now I'm just, like, not remembering. But it's, like, yeah, basically sort of his, like, foster parent, I guess, at the time.
Or sole guardian?
Yes.
Maybe?
Yeah, I guess so, because, and yeah, it was, like, more of a, like, emergency, like, custody sort of thing versus, like...
Either way, her grandmother was in charge of baby uncle.
Baby uncle, yeah. That's what we call him, because he's, like, technically my kid's uncle. But, yeah.
But a baby.
Yeah. And then she started staying at a relative's house, and another relative came to also take care of him. So all of our family was just sort of, like, coming together to, like...
gathered to make sure he was okay.
And then there was a few months of that, and the court just, like, unfortunately has to give the biological parents, like, chance after chance to, like, get their kid back. It's really hard to get biological parents' rights terminated.
Which I feel like is literally ridiculous.
It is, and, like, I can see, like, obviously, yeah, like, I don't know, it's hard because it's hard to, like, have a set, like, one set of rules for every situation. And I feel like what would have made more sense for, like, this situation is, like, to look at the history of, like, her not having custody of any of her kids, and just, like, her whole history of all of everything, but they can only look at specifically with this child, which sucks because
I feel like it's, like,
it's not fair. It's like they can mess up over and over again, and it's like, oh,
there's with the system, they think it's, like, black and white, where there is a whole lot of gray in the middle.
Exactly.
You know, like, there's so many cases where you're like, okay, like, you understand, like, at the end of the day, they're trying to get their child back with their parents.
Right.
But, like, and rightfully so. Like, something happened, but they're working on it.
Right now, my little brother, like I was saying, it's been almost a year now that he's been in foster care, and he could have been, so basically they ended up placing him with a foster parent because they let my mom have a say in where he went, and just, like, out of out of spite for like our family, like being against her, quote unquote, I guess. She said like that she'd rather him just go with a random foster parent. He's with a foster family, and if the court could have just looked at this case differently and seen that obviously like my mom has been like this for decades and never got better for any of her other kids, like has
and
had
proven like the time, this amount of time that she's still not clean.
Exactly. Like if the right, like how long can you really go?
Like, why wait a whole year when that, like...
That's, even, like, the most important year of your kids' lives is those first years. Now that he's a year old, hopefully we'll see some kind of change that's going to be permanent for him. But we don't really know yet. But, yeah, so that's... His first birthday is coming up, and I actually think I'm going to get to see him, which I'm excited for. But...
Oh, my goodness. Yeah, I remember seeing him, and he was just this little tiny peanut. So, like, I can't wait for you to show me a picture of him now.
I know.
Where he's gonna be like a toddler.
I know, seriously. He like just from seeing pictures of him and like FaceTime and stuff, he looks huge. I just hope the court like does what's actually best for him. I'm lucky enough that I haven't had to deal with like family court with my oldest daughter's biological dad. He's like pretty much stayed out of the picture, which honestly is better because I feel like just not being involved. I think I've said this so many times, but, you know, like, not being involved is better than just being in and out and, like, being involved when you feel like it.
In and out, not consistent, not stable.
Not actually contributing, just, like, showing up when you want to. I feel like it's better to just, like, either fully be involved and put your all into being a parent or don't. Because it's way more confusing for the kid and is going to give, like we were saying, like, if you're just, like, involved when you feel like it, that's, like, going to give your kid a very twisted idea on what a good parent looks like.
Yeah, and they... can kind of relate it back to like maybe it's them being the problem when it's not,
right? Like
the child being like, well, it's me, you know, I'm the problem, when in fact it's not, it's that parent who just can't get their shit together.
100%. Yeah, I didn't even think about that, but yeah, I could see that being a thing because I mean like my dad was never in my life at all, but I could totally see like them showing up when they want to and then when they don't being like, oh, like they didn't want to see me.
Yeah, like think about Layla when she was like, well, that's like how my dad broke up with me.
Yeah. If he was actually involved more, like that would be like your kid's first like heartbreak, like actual heartbreak. I've had some friends that have had to deal with like that kind of stuff, like being in and out, who have had to like not have their kids on Christmas and stuff just because like of the back and forth. And I can't imagine for like a little toddler, like a little baby.
Yeah.
Like, and then also for the parents, like honestly, even on both parts, like just having to like split up time with your kid as if it's like a prize or trophy, like, you know what I mean? Or like an object, passing them back and forth.
No,
like,
I completely understand because, like, I don't know, like, there's no stability. Not saying, like, if you have a good co-parenting relationship and you're back and forth, it's not stable, but, like, it's, like, it's not.
Yeah, and honestly, just, like, how, like, in like, a family, I've heard a lot of people say, and I completely agree with this, that, like, your relationship with, like the mom and dad relationship comes before the kids. Like, that needs to be the strongest, like, part of your family. The dad needs to, like, prioritize the mom and then the kids.
Yes.
You know, I mean, obviously, like, you meet your kids' basic needs and, like, take care of them. But, like, you know, when it comes to that kind of stuff.
I've actually heard that. They say you're supposed to put, like, God first, and then it's supposed to be, like, you put your spouse or your significant other and then your kids. Yeah. But, like, part of me is, like,
well, yeah, but I mean, I guess it's, like, different for you because you're, like, a single mom.
Yeah, I don't
so it's
have
like
that. So I'm like...
Yeah. But when you do have a significant other, like, they should put you first.
Yeah.
But it was also weird for me because, like, Logan did, like, really, like, pick Layla. And was like, oh my gosh, like, I love this baby. I mean, I guess he also loved me too. So it's, like, package deal. But, like, yeah, I don't know. It's weird.
Isn't it weird? Because I'm, like, I can't really, like, I guess speak about it because I don't have that person. And, like, so Sawyer is, like... my one and only. Right. But, like, I can't even think about ever putting someone else before. Sometimes I worry about my other kids. I'm like, am I, like, gonna always put Sawyer first?
No, that's exactly how I felt when I got pregnant with my second, with Anna. I was like, oh my God, how could I ever love, like, someone else as much as I love, like, my first child? But then you do.
It makes me scared. I'm like, maybe, like, what if I'm a terrible person?
No, it's like you feel like you're gonna have to split your love between the two, but you just, like, your love just doubles.
Okay, that's good to know. Because I literally...
Don't be worried about that.
It makes me scared to have more kids and even, like, have a significant other because I'm like, what if I just don't even, like...
care about them? Because you're just like...
Because I'm like, Sawyer.
Yeah. That's a valid fear to have.
Yeah. I hope that's not true. And I doubt it is true because I feel like it's like a different love. Like between loving your kid and loving your husband or boyfriend, you know?
And even loving your different kids. Like my love for like all my kids is like so obviously equal, but like different. Because they're different people.
Different
and,
little beings.
Yeah. What I was going to say though is that I feel like just like how in a family, like your like partner, significant other, like relationship should come first. Even with co-parenting, I feel like the healthiest way to do it, and I obviously can't really speak from experience, but if I were to have to one day co-parent with Layla's biological dad, or like him be involved at all, like I would want to make sure that our like relationship is solid first and that we are able to be like civil and like communicate like well. So I feel like that's something that should be prioritized with co-parents is like you have to kind of put like
you have to put your own pettiness and like selfishness aside for your child.
Yeah, because I feel like everything is going to go so much smoother for your kid if you guys can actually like have a decent relationship. I can't imagine just like absolutely hating somebody and not even speaking to them and then just like dropping my kid with them because I have to.
Yeah.
And I know people who have to do that and it's difficult and it's definitely like sometimes it's just because the other parent doesn't want to compromise.
Which I think that is so wrong. Like a parent that does that, it's not even like they really want their kid, but it's like for control and for power, like just to show like they were able to do it. I think is so wrong because in the end it's only hurting
the kid. Exactly. Yeah, I have a friend who has gone through stuff like that.
That's what I was thinking about. Like, that's what I feel like that's why he does it. Not because he cares about.
He wants to prove that he can still control her life.
Yeah. Especially because she's happy.
Yeah, no, I've watched friends really go through it and like I said in the last episode, like literally be torn to the ground by the court system and like judges that just literally like threaten to take their kid away for like absolutely nothing. And that's another thing that makes me pissed off is like just because like you got some bad crazy judge, like they're threatening to take your kid away where like my mom can like do whatever she wants and like still have a say in her kid's life
depending on state, depending on the judge and what state you want are in, like it can be completely different. That's true. So like if your case was in a different state it could have like gone completely a different way, which is scary. Crazy. I can't imagine like the stress and the anxiety. Like I'm not in it's like I don't know
like
how
there's no court involvement with your situation.
So but I do still get like the anxiety and the stress of like what if you know that ever comes to like going to court like that. I want to stay away from it. Like
I've always was afraid of that as well, like in the beginning. And I mean like obviously like if a dad wants to be involved and actually like
be a good dad,
like then they should have the opportunity to do that. So like I 100% like think that they should have a chance to do that.
I agree. If you're gonna be a good, like, stable, consistent father or even mother, like we can't just say like
there's deadbeat moms too.
But like at least like in our situations it was like dads. Like then that's like understandable. Like you should make it work, you know, for your child. But if it's not like that, then and like some things that we think are so big, they are like in one ear out the other because they've heard so many things, so many terrible things. So like our things that we think are terrible and awful and don't want in our kids' lives like isn't as big as of a problem to them.
Baby daddies or potentially baby mamas and like their families will use court just to like you were saying, like control the other parent.
Just to like get that like power over you. Which is I think kind of terrible. Because you're not even doing it in the interest of your child. It's just because you don't like the person that is raising your child.
And like using it as like a threat.
I feel like especially as a single mom, like the absolute worst thing that you can say or threaten,
like if it's not out of like actually genuinely wanting to be involved with.
If it's not like specifically wanting to be a good part of your child's life and be involved, like saying, well, I'll see you in court or like I'll take you to court or anything like that is literally the most scariest thing
manipulative
you can say. Thing. It's very manipulative. And also, like, why would you say that to somebody who is literally taking care of that child now?
It's like just tearing you down. Like, it's like you're the one raising this baby, doing everything for this baby, and they're just like, oh, well, I'll take you to court and get that baby taken away from you.
Because, and nobody would ever be able to take Sawyer away from me because I am a good mom. But like,
but that's the whole thing about like the court is it's like I mean, obviously that would never happen.
Yeah, just I hope not.
No. But it's just scary to think that there's cases that go sideways, like.
Yes, and like especially when I just had Sawyer and I wasn't sure what my situation was going to be like in the future. My worst fear was like somebody trying to take Sawyer away from me just because they think that they could. Especially with me, like I would do anything for Sawyer and will always take care of her.
Yeah.
And I've proven that. Look at the other way. So I don't know. I just feel like someone threatening that and using that just to like get in your head it really shows a person's character.
For anyone like in a situation like this, like pregnant, I just know like when I was pregnant and I was like always worried about what I was gonna have to do, and I like did talk to some lawyers.
I did too. Yeah. When I was pregnant, after I was pregnant, and I still like keep in contact.
Yeah, and keep up with like keeping track of everything. You want to be able to work it out without court involvement, but like sometimes it's has to be.
It's also just like making sure you and your baby are protected.
Exactly. Yeah, definitely. I feel like that's very important for like single moms who maybe are like in a tricky situation. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's important to do that. Like even if you don't think it's going to go to court, like, but it's just that even getting their knowledge on like how to handle it and like what's like the best way to go about any situation, like whether the dad is going to be involved, not going to be involved, going to visit, like stuff like that. Like for my situation, I go based off of basically what's going to look good in the court's eyes.
Yeah, true.
Like what my lawyer thinks is the best way to go about it.
I talked to a lawyer about like whether I need to get his rights terminated for my fiance to be able to adopt. Logan. Yeah, my oldest daughter. It's not like an issue right now.
Yeah.
Obviously in the future we want him to be able to adopt her, but he actually just turned 21
too.
Yeah, so he in our state, it's like one of 3 states that you have to be 21 to adopt.
Again, with the states, like
yeah, it's like if we were in the state over, like he could have already adopted her. But yeah, so yeah, we would just definitely say like talk to lawyers if you're worried about any of that kind of stuff, and yeah, make sure you have your bases covered.
Yeah. What is important is that your baby's gonna grow up in a good household with a parents, like
or
family,
civil co-parents, or
This is opinion, not factual based. We are not lawyers. Anything in the court, like
we are just sharing our own personal experiences.
2 moms who are just sharing our thoughts and opinions.
Yeah, definitely.
That wraps it up.
Definitely, yeah. Thank you guys so much for listening in for another episode.
We come out with episodes every Monday at 6 Eastern time.
We have them on YouTube and Spotify, and check out all of our other socials linked down below. And like we said, also, you guys can comment questions for our question of the week down below on our YouTube videos or on our Instagram. We love you guys so much, and we'll see you in the next episode. Bye.